Hey guys, welcome to another episode of El Jefe's Shop. This week we're working on an old project of mine. It is a Toyota Stout, and I basically just talk a whole lot. Alright, so this week we're going to get back into the Stout. We're going to try and put it together, get it assembled, and then going to try and sell it off. So this thing had beams in it, I'll show you in a second. It had the beams that's in the 25 in it. It did have a custom wiring loom, which I think is still in it. I had the interior retrimmed, I've done the whole chassis all painted and fresh. So there is quite a lot of salvageable things. So it is a good project for someone else. But I want to keep the beams for the 25, and that's about it. I want to just take what I can off this project, keep it for the 25. Anything I can reuse in my other projects, I'll do that. And then whatever's left over, I'm going to put together today or tomorrow or the next day. And then I'll post it for sale and see what we can get rid of. So here it is, my Toyota Stout. So this is a 67 or similar, 69 possibly. They started in the early 60s, like I think I've seen a 64 before. So we got some other projects on top. We got a replacement crossmember for the one that I cut out. Got a replacement front crossmember for the one that I modified. And then there's a few rust repairs that I should have done or haven't really done. One I've started down here. The seats all retrimmed. I replaced both seal panels and made the door gaps a little bit smaller because the door gaps on these things are like many millimeters. And then we got the sim rig on the top, which I'm going to take down and try and sell those seats as well. Got a old army box, which is my grandpa's, so I want to keep that. Then we got the Falcon Steelies, which are my trademark, I feel. I love these things. And then some rolled slimline guards. Got brand new shocks back there. We got a Hilux diff with 411s. We've got good big Hilux brakes. Everything's been resealed, re-bearinged. Everything's all like good. Then in the front, I did have R33 GTR calipers, or GTST, sorry. So I made an adapter for that. So the adapter's still there, but the brakes are not. There's not one on this side and there's one on that side, so I need to take that one. But that's a later problem. So that's about all that's actually on the car. Oh, sorry, it's got a brand new brake master and then a brake booster remote mounted under the driver's seat. And then I think that's it. There's not a whole lot to it. Steering's not done. Front brakes you'd have to buy your own because I'm keeping the setup that's on there. And then the back end is just the Hilux stuff from like a mid-90s Hilux. I do have a tail shaft to suit this, 2 beams, but there's no point because the beams isn't coming with it. And then just need to put this interior in, clean everything up, strip all this off. I need to mount the tray because that's actually not mounted, it's just sitting there. There is something cool on the back of the tray which I'll show you when I pull it out. But I need to mount the tray so that when someone picks this thing up, it's good to go. I've got all the doors, I've got all the panels, I've got the radiator stuff, all the engine bay's been painted. Everything's really there as like a solid project. There's a few rust repairs to do and then your brakes and steering and you'd basically be right about there. So let's get stuck into it. I'm gonna have to dig it out first because I've got all this stuff in the way. Alright, so I'm actually home with an isolation at the moment, so I can't go out and get any parts. It's just started raining, so I was mowing my lawn, started raining, so now I'm gonna try and do the Stout. But I was hoping to pull the Stout out into the driveway, but it's raining, so I don't really want to do that. I am going to wash it anyway, but I don't want to just push it out and then not be able to get back in and it pisses down for 3 days. So just going to leave that for now. One thing that I do need to do before I can move it anyway is a steering block off. So I need to run a piece of metal, like a bar or something, between the 2 steering arms because there's no tire ends, there's no steering rack, there's no anything. So I need to just make them a fixed length. At least then when I push it, the wheels don't try and, you know? Let's do that. Alright, so I got my bit of steel here. This one's obviously long enough to do what I want. It needs to be about 1.10 m. But I don't really want to run a bolt the whole way through this thing. And the wall thickness is not enough. So I've got this piece which is quite a lot thicker. So I'm going to cut this in half and cut this one to about 90. And then add on the width that I need here and here. And then drill a hole into this and run just a bolt through the top skin. And hope that's enough. And if it's not, then I can run through the whole lot if I need to. So plan is for now, just cut this, cut that, weld them together, make a weird like jagged thing. It also spaces everything away from the chassis, so that's pretty handy. So let's cut this up, weld it together and I'll drill some holes and show you what it looks like. All right, here we go. So I got the 900, then these are about 220 or something like that. Got the hole drilled in on the end there and they're welded on. Got 2 bolts and the tools, so I'm gonna go back over to the other shed and put it in. All right, so I can't bolt this in because the wheels are in the way. So I'm gonna have to jack the Stout up, take the front wheels off, put this bar on. I also want to take the front wheels off anyway for the caliper on this side and the discs on both sides. So I may as well do that anyway. So I'm gonna go grab a jack and some tools to take the wheels off. All right, so I got the front of the Stout back together. This bar actually hits on the tire ends, so I probably should have spaced it differently, but I've had it apart like 4 times, so I'm not doing it now. You can only turn a little bit, but that's enough to get it on the trailer, which is all this is for. I've chucked in a piece of RHS to get it off the ground because it was quite slammed, and also this bar was still hitting the chassis rail, so that's getting us a bit of a solve. The brakes are off, everything I need for the 25 is gone, from here anyway. I did find the other brake lines, so this has got all new brake lines and I think fuel lines. Not sure if I ended up doing the fuel line, but I've got a brake line that goes around the front and then to this side, so that's all in this stuff somewhere, possibly in the other shed. Still haven't touched the inside, which I might do in a minute. I've just cleared off the tray, got the Merc seats off, got the sim rig thing off, so this is the next problem. I want to get it up, so it's actually on the piss at the moment and sort of fallen off, as you can see. So I need to get it all jacked back up and in the right spot, and then I'll weld the mounts and bolt it down so it's all good to go. But it's still raining, so I don't want to push it outside and do that. And I don't really want to do it in here because I can't really see a whole lot and it's super tight over that side. So probably just wait until the rain stops, maybe in a day or 2. I just found out I have to isolate for 14 days as of yesterday. So this is day 2. So I've got like 12 days to sort this thing and probably jump into the wagon as well, hopefully, assuming I don't get sick. If you don't see this video, it hasn't been a video for a couple of weeks, so I got sick. All right, so the rain stopped. It is the same day. The 2-minute job of emptying the stuff out turned into a couple of hours of me playing on the computer and on the phone, and then getting the stuff out. So everything I want is stripped, I'm pretty sure. So I do want this ratchet strap back because I'm going to make the tray fit on properly anyway. So I'll keep that. And then everything else you see is staying, and a lot of it is coming back. So the full interior is coming back. I've got all the panels and all the glass and doors and all that stuff. So now just need to push it outside and then pressure wash it. So it's not supposed to rain for the rest of today or tomorrow. So push it outside, pressure wash this, let it dry outside, and then tomorrow make that tray be one with the chassis, and then see how far we can get putting everything back together. Alright, well that looks a whole lot better. It's still drying out, still a little bit dusty, but it's much better than it was. So just going to let it dry overnight because it is still dripping, as you can see. And then tomorrow try and make this tray bolt on, or weld the tray on, or whatever I need to do. Weld the tray to the mounts that I've already made and then bolt it all together. And then I gave this stuff a quick pressure wash so that can start getting bolted on. So if I get the tray done, I might move on to the front end, and then once that's done, do the interior. I've decided I don't want to do the tray today, so I'm going to do the front end. So before I do that, I'm just going to show you what I've done, mainly for whoever buys this. This is the things that I've modified. So this brace here, I've cut it a little bit narrower so that I could fit a radiator a bit nicer. There's also a massive, I think it's 50 by 53 or 5mm RHS that runs up along there to bring these some strength together. Then that plate on the back is only just welded in on the edges. So I would weld that the whole way along if I were you, and probably underneath as well. That'll get you heaps of strength back. But that has been chopped probably 15mm for the radiator, which you'll see shortly. I've cut this out a fair bit, but I did put in a bunch of RHS in the bottom. I have photos of that somewhere, so I'll try and put those on the screen. So that's all been chopped out. That was about this tall, so there's a lot chopped out. There's another cross member that comes with it if you wanted to replace that or whatever. Then all of this stuff is stock. I ended up using what I could find at the time, which was chair rubber feet for the bushes at the top. So you probably have to redo that. These ball joints, whilst rusty, are brand new. Then down here we got a caliper mount that I've made which suits a BA Falcon rotor and a R33 GTST caliper. So then you can run that on both sides. There is 4 little spacers and 4 bolts that go with this, which I'll try and find before I put this together to sell. But if there isn't, there's 2 little spacers either side, so you may have to make those to get the caliper in the right spot. Then the same on the other side. Got all new sway bar bushers, all new everything in the front. I've got brand new shocks in the box over there. They haven't even been in yet. I've got the stock springs which I've repainted with this Pour 15, so this is all Pour 15. So there's all of that front end stuff. I did smash my finger about 6 years ago, which you can't really see. My nail is still split from the front springs in this thing, so I didn't put them back in because of that reason. Then I've modified the brake master, so I can't remember what this is out of, but it now fits against the firewall and there's a nice big brace in there. It's the shortest one I could find, I think was the memory, and it's the right valve size for the calipers. Then brand new brake lines down to the corners. There's one supposed to be going from here to the other side, which I haven't done just yet. Because this is a dual master, you have to have the fronts on one circuit and the backs on another. And then that all runs down to the back. So under this side, under the driver's floor here, we've got a remote booster from PBA, Power Brakes Australia. So they're pretty local. That is mounted and plumbed for the front brakes only. And then we've got all the floors being painted and Pour 15. I've made a accelerator bracket all strengthened up. I replaced all of these seals because they were absolutely toast, so that's actually really thick now. And then remade this bottom half of the A-pillar here. Then to do is this back corner, which I have not done and have no intention of doing now. That needs a bit of fixing and a bit of tidying up obviously, but the sill itself is pretty solid and these guys are solid, they just need a bit of work. So coming onto the inside, it's all pretty stock. From memory, that was the stock accelerator location anyway, but that's where I was going to have it. Pedal is somewhere. Then we've got a accelerator cable mount that I've put in at the top there. Got the master cylinder coming through and the clutch slave, which I have in a box. Then we've got a K70 steering column mounted, so you just need to work out some kind of rack. I did have a K70 rack mounted in here at one point, or just templated at one point. You can get it to work with not much bump steer and reasonably correct geometry, but that's on you. I don't want to be responsible for that, which is part of the reason I'm getting rid of this thing. And then a fully shaved firewall, everything you don't need. So that's for the handbrake, which I have started making, but not going to finish. And then this is the rust that needs fixing through there, so that's the main chunk of what's left. In the back of the cab, it's all pretty normal. I can't remember what these welds were for. I think I put in a bar back there so I can put seatbelts in, but I can't remember. I have to actually crawl under and have a look. These mounts were for the fuse box that I made that I'm keeping. These ones were for the fuse blocks, these ones for the ECU. So that's pretty much all you're getting. And then there's a hole there for the wiring to run under the cab. Then I've cut out the gearbox crossmember and reinforced all of that. So I would suggest welding that in if you can, with whatever gearbox combo you're going. I was trying to keep everything really, really high, so the only way to get the gearbox in and out was to remove that. But I don't trust the strength, which is another reason I'm getting rid of this thing. But depending on what engine you use, if you do an auto, that'll be super easy. The manual was quite a pain because of all the shifter off the back. We got Ford pre-AU Steelies, so they're 15 by 6, minus 6 I think. And then this is another rust repair that needs to be completed, which you can see there. We've got another replaced bottom corner, and this sill's been replaced as well. Then this side I've started doing the replacement, but haven't done the back curved tricky section. From memory, the door gaps are really good. I did bring the cab in a little bit because every Stout I've seen, the door gap on one side is bigger than the other, so I did fix that. I've got new windows for the back and the sides. They're new cut windows. I've got 2 front windows for the front and a bunch of spares, which I'll show you later. Then coming onto the back, we've got brand new shocks, 411 diff center, brand new U-bolts. We got drum brakes out of a 90s Hilux, which makes the handbrake on the back instead of the back of the gearbox. And the smooth guards, and then a custom tray. And this is made out of, I'm pretty sure it's 5mm. It's way too big. So 5mm across the back, 3 5mm down the middle, and 5mm across the front, and then I think it's 3mm down the sides. I think all of this is 3mm because it's pretty solid and it's super heavy, as you can imagine. Then on the back we got XA Falcon tail lights, we got an in number plate light, XA Falcon tail light, and then there's a reverse light in there, which I'll leave on there. Then there's a stock fuel tank that goes this way, so I've actually got 2 of them. They run the width of the tray. So originally I think they ran this way in here somewhere, but then you have one side for the exhaust and all that sort of stuff. I've changed them to run this way, so double the fuel capacity, and I have got the filler set up all for that as well. So all of that's going to be in boxes. I probably won't bother putting that in there. And that's pretty much it. I'm just going to make this tray mounted and then put the interior back in, put the dash back in, which has been painted. Interior's been ring-trimmed. The doors are pretty much finished, I think. I've painted the inside and everything. And then put the door cards on, which I'm probably should do. And that's about it. So the idea with this was to be new engine bay, new underneath, new on the inside, and then the whole outside just looked ratty and well used. It's pretty sad to see this thing go on, to be honest, because it is really cool. It's just not going to fit in the fleet. Alright, so this doesn't fit very well. This corner's been in an accident before, so it actually doesn't bolt up very well. The front is all munched as well, and then the main bolt in the front you can't do up when the radiator's in, and I'm not taking the radiator out because it won't go back in. But then this side lines up pretty good, so it's all a bit twisted. I do remember putting all the bolts in once before, and it took me like all day, and I'm not doing that, so I'm not really sure where to go from here. I have to put the doors on before I put the guards on, but I kind of want to put the interior in before I put the guards on and the doors on. So it's a bit of a mission. I might try and grab the dash and just put that in, I guess. It's a pretty easy one, and then see how we go from there. Alright, so we've got the seats in. These things are the back bolt in with 1 bolt either side, and then the bottoms, this side just hooks over and slips in. And the driver's side, I can't remember, but I've just pushed it in for now, and it's not clipped in properly, which is why it sits a little bit higher and a little bit further forwards, but that is the next person's problem. Got the floor in as well. So that literally bolts in from factory like that, and then we've got the dash in, which is just half bolted in, the bottom half isn't. Then this trim here, it's a long black trim, goes up the back here and presses into here to hide the join. So that's not going on until the window's back in and everything's done, so that's someone else's problem as well. So onto the doors, I guess, and then the front end, but I also need to tackle this. Alright, so all of that's going to be in a later episode. I lost interest this week, and Emily and I downloaded some video games and we've been playing flat out. So didn't get a whole lot done this week, but the Stout is going to be finished in the next episode, and I'm going to get it up for sale. If you are interested in it, let me know. If not, that's cool too. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.